year.
Hmm.
Now, and with the incoming Bush administration, the Bush Jr.,
Yeah.
George W. Bush, he came in 2000 with a somewhat different agenda, and he pulled the funding on HAARP. For the next couple of years, HAARP had no money. They were getting nothing done. So anything you hear about HAARP doing this, that, or the other thing between 2000 and 2002 probably is wrong.
Oh.
HAARP did not get refunded until 2002. And what happened is initially HAARP had begun as a project jointly managed by the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy, with the work on the ground being done by students and professors from the University of Alaska.
Yeah.
In 2002, the Air Force and Navy gave management of HAARP to DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Administration.
Hmm.
And DARPA is the top of the military-industrial research heap. To give you an idea of what DARPA is like, if you remember the James Bond movies, you may remember Q, the old guy who made all the crazy gadgets for Bond.
Yeah, sure.
Imagine, if you will, Q has tens of thousands of employees and billions of dollars in budget to play with. That's DARPA.
Okay.
Now, DARPA has a website. It's darpa.mil. If you go to darpa.mil, you will get a front page that explains what DARPA is about. At the top of the page, there are some tabs. If you click on offices, it will take you to a list of all the offices. There are 8 offices within DARPA. One of them is the Tactical Technology Office, the TTO.
Yeah.
If you click on TTO, it will take you to the TTO webpage. Now, the Tactical Technology Office engages in high-risk, high-payoff advanced technology development of military systems, emphasizing the system and subsystem approach to the development of aerospace systems and tactical multipliers. That's very important. HAARP is a tactical multiplier. A tactical multiplier is not a weapon per se. It's something that will help your forces be more effective, such as if you want to sneak up on your enemy, if you could take out their spy satellites, that would be a tactical multiplier. That's what HAARP is. If you look on the left of the TTO webpage, you'll see there's a menu, and one of the things is programs. If you click on programs, it will take you to a page with a list of all the programs that the TTO is engaged in, the ones who are willing to admit anyhow. And about an inch down, you see HAARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. If you click on that, you will get a page describing what they are doing with HAARP. And this page is very unusual in that this page went up around 2002, 2003, and has been changed a little bit over the years. But as of March of this year, it changed rather drastically, because from 2002 to 2006, they kept saying what they're going to do with HAARP. As of March 9th this year, it's now stated as what they have done with HAARP. Under program plans, it used to say that they're going to complete the HAARP project. Now it says, quote, completed the HAARP high-frequency transmitting array at the HAARP Research Station, Kokona, Alaska. Prepared the existing facility in preparation for ionospheric testing. Conducted advanced ionosphere and radio science research and analysis of applications, including space-based asset protection and phenomena related to its implementation. Then, what exactly does that mean? What exactly did they do? And right about the middle of that page, it lists 4 things that they have done with HAARP. Now, this is what DARPA has done with HAARP since 2002. And the first thing is the generation of extremely low-frequency, very low-frequency radio waves for submarine and other subsurface communication. That was what the Navy came in on the project for. And the official HAARP website put up by the University of Alaska has always downplayed that and made it seem like, well, this is for talking to submarines under the Arctic Ocean, under the Arctic ice, and it's no big deal, and it's a very minor piece of what we're doing. And yet DARPA says that's number one. That's the primary thing we did with it. Second of all, the reduction of charged particle populations in the radiation belts to ensure safe spacecraft spacecraft systems operations. This is an amazing thing. If true, it could be both really, really good and really, really bad. You may know that the Earth is surrounded by radiation belts called the Van Allen belts.
Yeah, sure.
Van Allen, quote-unquote, discovered them. He discovered them by setting off nuclear weapons in them to prove that his guess that they existed was right. And he was right, and he did beef them up tremendously. Apparently, we went from having 3 to having 7, or went from having 5 to having 12, something like that, thanks to his work.
Okay.
Ever since discovered, we have had this problem with anything that's going out into space has got to go through at least the inner Van Allen belts, and to put up geosynchronous, they've got to go through the outer Van Allen belts too, which means that spacecraft going up or down have to go through these radiation zones, which are dangerous to both electronics and humans alike. And so HAARP is being used to reduce the level of radiation in the belts. This could be just an absolutely wonderful thing that the whole world could use. The problem is, how are they doing it? And what they're doing is they're injecting extra energy into the belts, injecting extra particles, energetic particles into the belts to try and overbalance, to put in more than it can hold, so as to cause precipitation, so as to cause the particles to fall out. Now, there's a lot of potential downsides to this, because when the particles fall out, where do they go? They come to Earth. So we're getting hard radiation from the Van Allen belts dropping into the top of the atmosphere. And there has been no good science done on what happens to them from there. It certainly has not been reported in any of the scientific literature associated with the HAARP project. You have to go digging a lot of other projects to find what they think happens.
Yeah.
And this causes a cascade effect. And the particles come into the top of the atmosphere, which precipitate events, which then drop and precipitate more events, which drop, which precipitate more events, and you can get things like widespread power outages and changes in weather patterns by doing this. The other thing is, if they try to beef up the belts to force the precipitation and fail to force the precipitation, all they have done is made the belts more dangerous to pass through.
Yeah.
And we know from independent researchers that when the Space Shuttle Columbia broke up, HAARP had been up and running in this mode for an hour before the reentry attempt.
Oh, really?
And is it possible that the unthinkable happened, and that HAARP, instead of making it safer for the Columbia to reenter, actually participated in its destruction? Now, of course, we're not going to get any affirmative answer on that subject out of the government. So it's very hard to say exactly what happened in that regard.
Yeah.
But it's certainly a question that should be looked into.
Absolutely.
The next thing they said they've done with this thing is the control of electron density gradients and the reflective properties in selected regions of the ionosphere to create radio wave propagation channels. Now, what this means is that they have found that when you inject all this energy into what seems to be a chaotic system, you discover that the chaotic system actually runs on rules, and that you can actually force the atmosphere into shapes. This amount of energy actually forces the energy into the atmosphere. Actually forces the air to make tunnels, literal tunnels. The molecules line up and create these gradients, these bounce spots, so that they can generate tubes, tunnels, what are called waveguides, to run radio waves down, so that radio signals that would only go a short distance go a great distance, and they go in a specific way, so that they can use these again for a number of surveillance and communications applications. And then lastly, they said that they used it to generate optical and infrared emissions in space to calibrate space sensors. And this one, this is a big question mark for me. How do they generate optical and infrared emissions in space? It seems to me there has to be some sort of something there, and they're not doing that in the void. They must be doing it in something.
Yeah.
But that something is the atmosphere, so it's not space. So it's like I'm still scratching my head literally on that one, trying to figure out what the heck they're talking about. But it does leave some interesting possibilities. That these are optical. These are things that can be seen with the naked eye. They can. This is painting the sky, creating artificial auroras or somethings in the sky. This leads one to wonder if perhaps they aren't really trying to do Operation Bluebeam.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah, that was one of my questions, actually. So go ahead. Fascinating.
Yeah, Operation Bluebeam supposedly is this plan to create a world government by faking either the rapture or the second coming or an alien invasion or the whole lot.
Yeah.
And to do this, you need a number of very specific technologies, which when the Bluebeam when the stories about Project Bluebeam first surfaced, everyone's going, no, they don't have this technology. They can't do this. But now we have HAARP. It has the ability to literally paint the sky and make optical things. As I was as I was finishing up the manuscript on the book HAARP: The Ultimate Weapon of the Conspiracy, just days before I mailed the manuscript off, I happened to be sitting in front of the TV, and a CNN news blip came on that just floored me. CNN announced that the Secretary of the Air Force had just announced at a press conference that the Air Force had perfected battlefield holographic projectors to project images in the sky over battlefields so as to frighten or disorient enemy troops. Now, that's 1996 technology. Where have we gone? Where have they gone in the last 10 years?
Fascinating. My God. So let's dive into some of the, more of your theories and more of the potential uses here, because there's a lot of speculation, and to get the ball rolling, so to speak. Last year there was a horrendous hurricane season, and I've heard and read several articles that speculate that there was some kind of weather manipulation involved. What's your take on this?
I wish I had a good answer to that question, and the reason I don't have a good answer to that question is because I'm actually writing a book on that subject right now.
Okay.
And I'm still in the middle of my research. The way I work is I'm very methodical. I do not come to conclusions until the evidence is absolutely overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so I'm still assembling evidence on this subject. I have interviewed a large number of people, such as Scott Stevens, who is an Idaho TV weatherman who became convinced that he could see the application of weather technology in going on in his daily forecast. In fact, he actually became famous for being the most successful, the most accurate TV forecaster, because he simply threw out the National Weather Service forecast and built his own forecast based on seeing what he called scalar technology in use. The evidence of scalar technology is really hard for